Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we have an amazing problem for you guys, right? It's called unique number of occurrences, right? So very, very good. It says given an array of integer, right, R, right, return true if the number of occurrences of each value, right, is in the array is unique, or return false otherwise, right? So very good. It says the first example, right, we're given this array, and the value of 1 has 3 occurrences, right? Okay. The value of 2 has 2 occurrences, and 3 only has 1, right? So we could easily see there's no two values, right, have the same number of occurrences, okay? Meaning that, there's no number, say, for 1, right? There were like 2 1s, and then for 2, there were 2 2s, right? Because those two different numbers occurred twice, right? 2 times. Exactly. That means that, they have the same number of occurrences, which would make us have to return false because because they said we need to make sure that that the number of times that a number occurred in the array, right, is unique, right? In that case, it wouldn't be unique because of those two different numbers having the same amount of occurrences, right? So you guys understand, right? It's kind of the whole problem, right? Then we need to validate, right? They're gonna give us an array and validate if it's every number have as a unique number of occurrence, right? So it's kind of the whole thing, right? So we see the second problem, right? 1 occurred one time, and 2 occurred once as well, right? That's why we can automatically return false, right? Meaning that this is not a good, uh, not all the numbers, have a unique number of occurrences, right? Because those two have the same number of occurrences, return false. And for this one, is a low example. We can safely say, that, every number occurred, unique amount of occurrences, right? No two different numbers have the same number of occurrences, right? You could do it, you could check it yourself, right? That's a fact. Okay. Yeah, so I see negative 3, negative 3, negative 3 3 times, and then we see 2. Yeah, it checks out, right? So how can we go ahead and solve this, guys, right? How can we go ahead about it? Okay. We're gonna do the straightforward way, guys. Maybe what's the straightforward way? Maybe we could double for loop our way into it, right? But how do we know the number of time a number has occurred, right? Do we loop through? We see for every index, where we loop through and find out how many times that number occurs in the array, right? Okay, we see we get 3 times, and then after we do that, right, we have another for loop, right? A nested for loop, right? That checks, right, to see all the different other numbers, right? Is there any other number that has the same amount of occurrence, right? It can get very, very messy, guys, right? That's not good at all, right? We need to come up with a more clever way, right, to kind of solve this, right? It's just an easy problem indeed, right? So we can't be that complex with all those for loops, right? It makes sense, right? So how do we solve this, guys, right? Maybe the other straightforward way that I think about is maybe we can have some kind of a data structure, right, to kind of help us in keeping track of all the different occurrences of a number, right? So we could easily reference it later on, right? Whatever algorithm we end up using, right? Maybe this we could do an inner loop, right, through the array, right? Put 1. So 1 would, we put 3, right, occur 3 times, and we check 2. We would, store it like that, right? Okay, so we put 1 occur 3 times, right? So 2 occur 2 times, right? So we just saving that information in the map, right? So we could reference it later on, right? So that's kind of the beauty of it. Okay. So now that we have that, right? So how does it become useful, right? What we're gonna do after that, right? Maybe we could because we have to make sure, right, that the values, right, are distinct, guys, right? They're not, there's no duplicates, right? That's how we're gonna safely, know, right, uh that the frequency, right? The occurrences of the numbers, right? They're like, there are no duplicates, right? They're all distinct, right? Meaning they're not the same, right? So that's how we would do it, right? So after we get the map, right, we would what's the data structure of choice where we want to find out about duplicates, guys, right? We would have some kind of a set, right? A set, right? That's gonna help us in knowing if a particular number already exists in there already, right? And in the thing or not, right? In the structure or not, right? Um, yeah, so we construct this, right? And then as we do, we loop through all the values and the map, right? And then we add them in there, right? We put three. Let's say we go what we're looping through, right? We put three in there. Then we check 0, 2. No, they put 2 in there. 0, 1. Nope. No, but we just put a 1 in there, right? And then we're good just like that, right? And just like, let's try this example, right? So we're looping through 1 and 2, right? So now we would use the map, right, to store the frequency, right? Because we want to reference that information later on, right? And then have to do a lot of work for it, right? So we constructed our map, right? We got our map ready, and now we do a second loop, right? To now second loop, right? As we're looping through the second time, we add the values, right, of the occurrence, right? The values is the number of occurrences, right, for each number, right? And as we loop through, right, we put 1 in there, right? Meaning that, that there's a number that occurred one time, right? And then we go on to the next number, right? We add 1 again, we check 1, and we like, oh, 1 already exists in there, right? Which means that it's not good because, the rule is every number should be, every number of occurrences for each number should be unique, right? So there should not be two numbers that have the same amount of occurrences, right? So that's why we return false right away, guys, right? So let's quickly go with the implementation, right? Hopefully it kind of makes sense to you guys, right? And then if we end up looping through all the values, right, and none of them, like, invalidated the constraint, right, we just return true, right, because we didn't find any duplicates, right, in the values, right, which is the number of occurrences for each number, right, which that pretty much tells us everything we need to know, right. If there's no numbers that are that have a problem with the unique occurrences, we return true. Okay, so yeah, guys, let's quickly get into it. So we're gonna use our map integer and use a hash map, and then we're gonna loop through the initially, right? Just do this, and we put in our map. Okay, after we do that, we loop through again, right? But this time we need to have a set, right? Okay, and now we're simply going to know occurrence, right? And so we get the number of occurrences for each number, right, in the map by doing this, by looping through the values, right? The values list, right? Yeah, we check if the set contains that occurrence, right? Okay. If it does, we return false right away. If not, then we add that occurrence, right? So now no other number should have that occurrence, the same amount of occurrence. If it does, then this is going to be true, right? And after that guy, we can safely return true without any issues, right? Yeah, it looks good to me, right? At least. All right, looks all right so far. Let's press submit. Awesome, guys. We're able to pass all the test cases, guys, right? So if you guys found value, make sure to give me a like, right? If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe because I'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for watching. and I'll see you guys in the next video.